Hey gang, Joyce is Skipping Cats Farms here. I've just finished adding the leaves down to that garden, and I'm now up here trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with this hay and how am I going to do it? And Mama and daughter came over and said hi, and I just realized, oh my goodness, you can tell daughter is pregnant. I don't know if you saw that as she just kind of turned, but the ewe lamb has got no udder and virtually no teats. And she's not bagged out yet, but she's starting to get there. Every time I try and get in a position where I can show you what I'm talking about, she moves. So, let me step over the fence, see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Not distracting her too much. So you can see that big old tape right there on the left. Well, a month ago she didn't have one. Goodness gracious, I can't see. I'm trying to show you. It zoomed in on me. Did not want it to do that. There you go. Now you see what I'm talking about. Anyway, look how wide she is. She looks like a linebacker, and now look at Mama. Mama looks like an I-beam, and daughter looks like a spaghetti-o. She never stops eating. But, so, I'm over here, obviously, by the sheepfold. Zoom back out here. We finally had a break in that outrageous cold weather for more than just a few hours. Oh man, we've had a sunny day today. Got my glove, let me pick that up. So I came up here after adding those leaves, and I want to cover those leaves with this hay. Now this hay is years old. So it's going to be microbially pretty intense. Grass tends to be more bacterially dominated. Well, no, it tends to be, it is. But it also has longer fibers, so that'll hold those. I mean, even with all the wind and stuff with the hay here and them walking through it, and the hay down there, it's just been sitting there and kind of walked on. It's not going anywhere, so I don't want those leaves to blow away. It's too much work. So I'm gonna put the phone down. What I'm gonna try and do is put the Vermont cart and flip it from like this on its end, and then I'm gonna try and take the hay roll and flip it up on its end into the cart. So let's see if we can make that happen without too much trouble. Thanks for holding. Okay, gang. Well, step number 1 looks pretty good. That roll bale of hay, just that little core left. It just fit in that Vermont cart like it was just made for it. It's like a hand into a glove. But you can't tell, but it's downhill, so I couldn't get the cart to stand up, so I just took the pitchfork and did that, and that's all it needed to stabilize it. So Now, let's see. Hopefully, all I gotta do is grab a hold of it and set it down. So, lickety split. That is just easy peasy lemon squeezy. Why do I show you these kinds of things? Well, number one, I'm an old woman, and I'm here doing the work by myself, and I've got to figure out ways of doing things. And I understand there's only one source of wisdom, so a lot of times I just say a quick, quiet prayer, and it's amazing how often something will just come to me. I'm unlooping this. I'd let that line go. I got to tie this back off. I had to close the gate to the sheepfold because this line is hot. It's still hot. And I had done a shoelace over there on the blue line. That's why it stayed tight. I'm just going to come over here. When I have, this is what they call a cold gate handle. You're going to get no conductivity through this handle at all. It's just something I got online. You can see I just kind of, I tied that off. Looks like I did a loop with a bowline or a figure eight. Tied it off and looped it through itself, and that's how I tied that off. And then when I've got a single line, I always do it on the 5th, and then that's hooked in there. So now that keeps the sheep out of this alley and off of that hay down here, like it was just a few minutes ago. And now I can open this back up. I didn't have that hooked. I just had that pigtail propping it in the ground. And I do not like using these two gates, one right next to each other, on this particular panel. This particular panel, there's two panels that have a hook at one end and straight edge on the other. And there's one panel that has a hook on both ends, and then there's one panel that has a straight edge on both ends. And that's just the way it worked out. And so the only panel that doesn't have a T-post tied to it is the one with the two hooks. And this is the first time I've done this kind of a setup. I have to open one door to the outside and one door to the inside. But I have to be careful, make sure I got that pigtail down near the hook end. So if it's not secured open, the sheep will come in and rub on it. It happened to me once. Now that's like one day out of 40. No, they haven't been here for this location for 40 days, but, well, could be, yeah. I think it was about the first of the year when I moved them over here. So, anyway, so now I just make sure I put the pigtail in near the hook, and now it's into the ground right by the cross piece, and it's not going anywhere. And if they rub up against it, they're going to have a hard time knocking it loose. And like I said, they only did it once. And so, that's all good. So with that, gang, looks like we're going to be taking this hay bale back down to the garden. So I think I had another video where I showed you how I walk that hay bale just under the hot wire here. Be a little harder now because that bale is sticking up about 6 or 8 inches. But it'll work with the pitchfork because I can force the Vermont cart underneath it anyway. So with that, gang, I like to try and save as many steps and carrying and whatever as I can. With that, gang, I will wish you... somebody's flying local. Yeah, there's a airport not too far from here. And there's a glider port that's pretty close. But that's usually just for the tourists in the summertime. So anyway, I digress. Let me get back to work. I'm going to take that hay and spread it over that last grow bed. And then I may spend a little bit more time in the greenhouse this afternoon. All kind of depends on how I feel. I'm still coughing up a lot of crud, so I made a mistake at the end of last week. Kind of worked a little too hard, and then I had a relapse on Sunday, and that was not fun. So we will get the job done one way or the other. With that, gang, I wish you blessings for the day. And whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.